All right, so this week's weekly is called Less Talking, produced by Oh Gosh Lotus, who's dope. He did a whole record with my man Curtis King. So shout out to him. And this is actually the second weekly he's produced. So this beat was actually sent to me by Curtis King, and then me and Oh Gosh connected later. You know, the hook goes, it's funny when the folks who tend to talk the most always act like they got the whole world figured out. Hard for me to digest when you try to speak or believe any single thing coming out your mouth. If actions speak louder than words, it's so absurd that you're still talking to me. Why would I take the advice of someone like you who don't harness their speech? And that's a theme I've experienced just, I think, in music in general, where the people who do the most talking, the people who have the biggest opinions, aren't actually the ones doing the most and aren't actually the ones executing. And the people who you think aren't really doing anything and are kind of on the low are the ones who are actually doing stuff. People who are doing stuff don't need to be validated and don't need to throw out all their ideas. It's the dreamers, it's the wannabes. Those who have big mouths and talk a lot aren't really the ones that are doing it. And I don't really rock with the mentality of, you know, more talking, less doing. I want to see less talking and more doing. First verse goes, everyone's an expert. Everyone makes music to make you bob your head till your neck hurt. Every struggle rapper became Dexter. Kill a rapper, then chop a body, then turn around, give a lecture. Everybody got their own brand, their own label, their own fans, their own goals, their own plans. And everybody is the greatest in their own eyes, their own friends, they do lie and so well. So the opening of that is just breaking down, you know, this mentality where everybody thinks they kind of know everything, or a lot of people think they know everything. And there's a little a reference to Dexter. You know, I don't know if you guys remember that show, one of my favorite shows. Just coming across more and more creatives that aren't very teachable. When I was young, I desired to spend time with people that have gone further than me, that have more experience than me. And for some reason, I feel like I don't come across as many people like that today, and maybe I was just an anomaly in that. And then when you do come across somebody that's really teachable, really humble, really hungry, really excited, I think that's something special there. And then the line about the friends, you know, obviously friends can lie to you and not tell you the truth about where you are in terms of your ability or artistic ability. And so then you walk around with a level of delusion. You walk around thinking you're better than you are, and you walk around more confident about your abilities if you just listen to your friends. And then the second part of that goes, who can you trust? Who can you trust? Who can you trust? Who can you trust? Everybody got something to say, nothing to touch that's tangible. Feeling the rush, these cannibals eating us up and never once a day. You could have theory and you could have ideas, but ideas aren't anything without execution. And a lot of people that have theories and have ideas don't actually have something to point to as a success. I've done this and this and this, and it worked for me in this way. Everybody got something to say, nothing to touch that's tangible. Building us up, stirring the pot like we animals. I figured it out. They in the rut, so they challenge you. Figured it out. They holding you to a standard, but aren't living it out. As a creative, as an entrepreneur, somebody that's always on the grind, you got to be careful of the energy you let around you, and you got to be careful not to let people rob you of your energy and steal your energy and steal your joy because their perspective is polar opposite. So that's the first verse. The second verse goes, this ain't supposed to be another song for the haters. I don't want to see ya. Summer school first date, I don't want to be ya. Time for the re-up. Boom, bow, bing, like onomatopoeia. You know, just little styling, little bars. I've never really made records about the haters, and that's not what this record is supposed to be. This record is supposed to be encouraging people to do less talking and more doing, more executing. Boom, bow, bing, like onomatopoeia. So boom, bow, bing is an onomatopoeia. That's a reference to Raw Sugar from Americana. If you guys haven't heard that, you should go check that out. It's really fly. Everyone is singing now. I'ma call and see it, but not everyone is easy. 3 stripes like Adidas. Everybody's making melodic music, but not everybody's executing it well. Not everybody's Kanye. Not everybody can get away with that kind of stuff. Rappers cross-dressing, saying that they G'd up. Maybe their aspiration is to be the next Medea. There's been a lot of gender bending, putting on women's clothes, multiple artists from Jaden Smith to Young Thug, right? And that we're trying to erase these lines of gender, which I think is really bizarre. And then these same guys are also super tough guys, and you know, they're gangsters and they're thugs, and that's, you know, I don't understand that.
And you mean to tell me we should be listening to the kids fail me, popping and pilling and killing the healthy? When I was a kid, that's not how we got wealthy.
So that's a line, you mean to tell me we should be listening to the kids? Listening to the kids is kind of one of Travis Scott's monikers, and I think Travis Scott makes really cool music, but I watched this documentary and I was very kind of disturbed in terms of how much drug culture is celebrated in music and popular culture. And I know it's always been celebrated, but I feel like the 90s and the 2000s, it wasn't cool to be a drug fiend. It wasn't cool to be addicted to hard drugs. It wasn't cool to, you know, do Molly and do coke. And that's recently that became cool. And I feel like there's certain artists that like perpetuate that. Future is another one, you know, Percocet, Molly, Percocet, like, and I see young people say these words and I'm like, wow, like this is heavy. This is dark stuff. Like, these are hard drugs. This ain't a little bit of weed. You know what I mean? This ain't drinking. Like, this is like, you're talking like opiates and really hard stuff, and that it's celebrated. I feel like we're back to this like 60s, 70s era of culture where it's like cool to be the fiend. It's cool to be the drug addict. And it's never been cool to do anything with drugs. For me, when I grew up, it was the entrepreneurial guy who didn't have anything and then sold drugs and then became legit. He, you know, quote unquote, did what he had to do and then became legit. Like, that was celebrated more than, oh yeah, I'm addicted to lean, I'm addicted to prescriptions and Xannies. And I don't think that stuff is cool. I don't think that's fly. I don't think we should be celebrating that. And I don't really listen to that music. Like, I hear it every now and then, or when it drops, I might check it out, skim through it, but I don't really rock with that stuff. I don't care how dope the Sonics are. I don't care how cool it is or how co-signed it is. I just don't think that stuff is dope, and I don't think it's healthy for society. So you want the people that have never been led?
You want the people that have never been led to guidance to lead the real leaders instead. Sound like something that the leaders have said. I think it'd be best you believe us instead, or leave us instead.
Again, you know, do it for the kids. Let the kids lead. Someone needs to empower the kids. You hear Jaden Smith make statements like this. You gotta let the kids be creative. And it's like, you want young people that have never had leadership or responsibility or have done anything. You want them to lead people that are actual leaders and have actually done stuff. And that to me is asinine and backwards. Like, that's not. There's nothing about that makes sense. There's no wisdom in that. There's no value in that to me. And I think what we need in music, in culture, is we need leaders to step up. We need people to say, hey, I have more wisdom to offer than just music. And I've gone through life, and I've seen ups and downs, and I've had a family, and I've made money, and I've lost money. And I think we need people to step up and actually lead, and not just let young people lead each other, because then you get this just weird hybrid of culture that's celebrating drugs and celebrating misogyny and celebrating things that aren't helpful and aren't positive. And you could do that stuff for a season, but eventually it's going to burn you out. It's not going to be healthy for you. And so that's what that second verse is about. And again, just a song from that real place of observing culture, interacting with different people, and processing and trying to figure out my own thoughts. I'm a millennial. I love a lot of what millennials have to offer, and I think that there's a lot that we have to say, but I also think there's a part of us that needs to slow down and put in the work and stop talking and stop just dreaming, but actually go and do stuff. And so that's the overall thesis of that record, Less Talking. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you've enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit me with a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And as always, you can leave a comment here for other weekly ideas of songs. If you're a producer, you could send in beats. But yeah, thank you guys for checking this out. Shout out to my man Zach Sparazzo, who shoots all these. He did a really dope behind the scenes of this one that you guys should check out. I'll link it in the description or something. You can check that out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for checking this out. Stay tuned. Peace.